This video is brought to you by these YouTube members. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Hello everyone and welcome to the top 10 Quincy's on Bleach Brave Souls. It took a while, but we finally have enough to make a solid list for these guys. Now obviously there are still a lot more Quincy's that we haven't got yet, so this definitely won't be the only time I make this list. But I have been waiting so long to be able to make it, and I really didn't feel like waiting for all the Quincy's to come out. So that said, let's begin.
お見事。そしてさようなら。君にはもはや後悔させる時間すら惜しい。
Now we're starting off with the Bond's version of Uryu. Personally, I really like this character. I know he was fairly common as a filler, but common doesn't mean bad. He's actually really good. He's got a pretty high SP as well as frenzy and can inflict debilitating burn on all of his strong attacks and his special. He's very likely to do it with his strong attack 2 thanks to it being a crawling vortex move, and it's super useful for keeping enemies away, which is good considering he's ranged. Then we have a strong attack 3. It's a charge move and can deal a massive amount of damage when fully charged, though it's really not that impressive when it's not charged. Finally, his special is guaranteed to inflict burn, and it also inflicts weakened attack. Honestly, he's a pretty solid character, and he's the only one on this list that didn't come out this year.
私のシュリフトは B、ザ・バランス。我が身の不運はさらなる不運としてお前に降り注ぐ。
Next up is the current king of PvP, Uryu. Now being a PvP character, he's kind of difficult to place. Ordinarily, when a character has a 40% killer, we kinda tend to place them in the PvP category. But in this particular case, he's got multiple things that specifically make him a PvP character. He's got a really high attack as well as a plus 20 bruiser and flurry, and he's got poise, meaning he doesn't stagger when hit. He's also able to pierce enemies' barriers, and he's able to deflect some enemy damage back at them, which is just insane. On top of all this, he's also got a damage reduction link at 16% that can be stacked up to 76%, that he really only needs if the match lasts longer than 10 seconds since he's completely invincible in the first 10 seconds. Now the damage deflection and invincibility only activate in PvP, which is why he's primarily a PvP character. He is able to pierce barriers from boss enemies anywhere in the game, but the opportunity is rare. Uryu also has a squad 0 killer, which at the time of this recording literally only affects 5 characters in the game. So yeah, he basically screams PvP, and that's why I can only put him at number 9, since outside of that, there's not really much of a use for him.
いい気になってんじゃねえぞエレクトラケータ
Alright, now we get to some truly great characters, and we're starting at number 8 with Candice Catnip, my personal favorite Quincy. Candice is a really high SP as well as frenzy. She's also got Berserker at 20%, so her strong attacks are going to deal an extra amount of damage. Her normal attacks, strong attacks, and her special can all inflict debilitating paralysis, and she's pretty likely to do it too thanks to her strong attack recharge link and the crazy range on her strong attacks, thanks in part to her Havoc at 20, making her full screen strong attack 3 move beyond full screen, and her strong attack 2 have the area of a near full screen move. Candice also has an extra sprinter, letting her dodge enemy specials faster and clear areas faster, and her special, in addition to dealing paralysis, also leaves the enemies behind with a weakened defense, which is a really good combination, especially in guild quests. As I mentioned, she is my favorite of the Quincy, and I'm really glad she was one of the first to come out, and that they made her such an excellent character.
我が真紅の金光を望みたもう現出せよ
Next on the list is Bambi at a Mastermind, a character with a ridiculously high SP, Berserker at 20%, and Frenzy. This means that her strong attacks are going to deal a lot of damage, and they can deal potentially more damage, since she's also got an ability that deals 20% more damage to burnt enemies. And it's likely to activate, since all of her attacks have a chance to inflict debilitating burn. From her rapid-firing normal attack, to her strong attacks that all have great range thanks to her having Havoc at 20. Like Candice, it pushes her strong attack 3 to be beyond full screen, and her strong attack 2 to be nearly the size of a full screen strong attack. Since before the 1000-year Blood War characters came to BBS, Bambi was one of the 10 most anticipated characters that the community wanted to appear in the game. And while it may have taken a few years, I'd say the wait was well worth it.
問題は何もなかった。
Next we have a Quincy that isn't a part of the Sturmritter, and that's the past version of Ryuken, who's one of the most recent characters to come out. Now don't let him being at number 6 fool you. Every character, except for maybe Uryu at the beginning on this list, is absolutely remarkable, and Ryuken is no exception. He's got a really high SP, as well as Frenzy and a ridiculous plus 60 Berserker, letting him deal just a massive amount of damage with his strong attacks, which, much like the previous two characters, also have really good range thanks to Havoc at 20. His strong attack 3 is beyond full screen, and his strong attack 1 basically encompasses the area of a full screen attack. Then we have a strong attack 2, which has the potential to be one of the most damaging in the game. I say potential because you do have to be up close to enemies in order to get the most out of this attack, which for a ranged character can sometimes be a risk. Still, the risk is well worth it, since it's a 160 max strong attack 2 and can deal a massive amount of damage to anyone it hits up close. Unfortunately, anyone who's not up close won't take as much damage, and the attack itself pushes enemies back. Still, having Havoc increases the range of this attack's effectiveness, and when combined with his plus 60 Berserker and Frenzy, it becomes one of the strongest strong attacks in the game, especially since it's a strong attack 2, and thanks to his boosted 14% strong attack recharge link, it'll come back fairly frequently. Finally, to top everything off, Ryuken also nullifies range resistances, making him extra effective in Senkaimon, guild quests, and extreme co-op.
そんなに俺に負けるのが怖えかよ。バーニングフルフィンガー。
Next up on the list, we have the Quincy version of Grimmjow, by which I mean Bambi. You get the joke. Bambi's got a really high SP as well as Frenzy. He's also got Berserker at 20%, so his strong attacks deal more damage, and he's got a strong attack recharge link of 12%. All of Bambi's attacks have a chance to inflict debilitating burn, and they all have great range thanks to his Havoc being at 20. This makes his strong attack 2 similar to Bambi's and Candice, where it's pretty close to full screen, and his strong attack 3 to be beyond full screen when fully charged. Not only that, but it also doubles in strength, and depending on how you build him, can be more powerful than his special. Bambi also has an Arankar killer, and when going up against power Arankars, his chances of inflicting debilitating burn increase dramatically. He's a real powerhouse of a character, and one of the best options to take in any quest against power Arankars.
切れないものがないなら形のないもので君を殺す宇宙空間に包まれて死ね
Next on the list, we have Grammy, who, much like most of the characters on this list, also has a really high SP, Frenzy, Berserker at 20, and Havoc. So as you might guess, his strong attack 3 is beyond full screen, and his strong attack 2 is essentially the same as Bambi's, Candice, and Bambi, at least when it comes to range, since Grammy can inflict debilitating laceration on his strong attack 2. In addition to that, he's also able to inflict debilitating burn on the rest of his attacks, and he can spam them thanks to his strong attack recharge link. Now not only is he able to inflict debilitating status ailments, but he's also completely immune from them, as Grammy is the second character in the game after Mayuri to be completely immune from all status ailments. This is incredibly helpful anywhere you go, especially when autoing, as you'll never have to worry about burning or poison floors, or enemies that can inflict paralysis, weakening, or freezing. On top of everything else, in addition to being able to deal debilitating burn on his special, it also grants him and the rest of the team protection, letting him resurrect if they were to go down anytime after he uses it. Now I know Yuha was the king of the Quincy's, and Grammy wasn't even a member of his elite guard, but I still think he has the most powerful ability in all of Bleach.
ジリエル神の使いの前になす術などなし
Coming in at number 3, we have Lil Baro, whatever. Look, who knows how you pronounce his name? Even the guys in Caleb's game station didn't know how to pronounce it. Either way, the guy's got a really high SP as well as Frenzy. He's also got Berserker at 40% and Bruiser at 40%. This means that not only are his strong attacks gonna deal a considerable amount of damage, but his normal attacks aren't useless either, especially since he has both Guard Break and the ability to hit hidden enemies. And because he's ranged, this means that as long as his stats are high enough, he can basically take out most enemies before they ever get a chance to get to him, since he doesn't have to worry about breaking guards and he can hit every enemy. And he's very likely to do it too. His strong attacks and his normal attacks all have great range, thanks in part to his Havoc at 20. That, and stop me if you've heard this before, make his strong attack 3 be on full screen and his strong attack 2 the same as Candice, Bambi, Bambi, and Grammy. They need a lot more variety with the Sturmritter. The fact that enemies can't hide from him and he can't be stopped makes him one of the best characters to take in PvE. Unfortunately, we're still gonna have to wait till the anime comes out to be able to know how to say his name.
僕のシュリフトアンチサーシス手出しは不要だ
Next up, we have the 1000-year Blood War version of Uryu Ishida. a name I can pronounce. Now Uryu has a really high SP as well as Berserker at 40 and Frenzy, meaning his strong attacks are going to deal a massive amount of damage. He's also going to deal a good amount of damage with his normal attack thanks to his plus 40 bruiser, and thanks to his guard break he won't have to worry about breaking enemy guards. So all of his attacks are going to inflict the amount of damage they're supposed to. Uryu's also got Havoc at 20, so his strong attacks get an extra boost in range, with his strong attack 3 being beyond full screen and his strong attack 2 being a hybrid vortex move that gathers enemies in one spot before pushing them back. This helps because Uryu is ranged, and he's better at dealing damage from a distance. Now so far we've seen all of his abilities before, but Uryu does have a unique ability that makes him one of the best characters in this game, and that's the ailment reversal ability, that not only deflects the status ailment the enemy just inflicted at Uryu back at them, but also heals Uryu for 25% of his total health, making him really difficult to take out, since a good percentage of the enemy's attacks will heal him instead of hurt him. And if he ever does need to heal a little bit more, his special, in addition to having a plus 60 devastation, also heals him and the rest of the team for 60% of the total health. Now unlike Grammy and Mayuri, he's not immune from all status ailments, just the ones inflicted by enemies. Still, it makes him one of the best characters in this game, and it puts him at number 2 on this list. Now finally at number 1 we have Masaki Kurosaki. Like Ryuken, she is also one of the newest Quincy in the game, but unlike Ryuken and most of the characters on this list, she is a high attack character, and that's putting it mildly. Her attack is insane, since not only does she have a high attack, but she also has a bruiser at 60% and a normal attack damage link of 20%, increasing her overall normal attack damage increase by 80%, and she has flurry, which honestly is unheard of. On top of that, because apparently it wasn't enough, her strong attack 2 is a boost move with enhancer, so after she uses it for 20 seconds, her attack defense and focus is increased by 33%, effectively making her the hardest hitting normal attacker in the game. And that's not all. Her strong attack 2, in addition to being a boost move, is also a barrier move. So if enemies happen to get to her, there's a good chance she'll be protected. But that's a big if, since she's very likely to take out enemies before they get anywhere near her. Not only does she have guard break, so she's always going to deal the max amount of damage, but she also has the ability to hit hidden enemies, so there's really no sneaking up on her. Now that said, she's got a no affiliation killer, and the standard no affiliation enemies don't have a way of hiding underground, but a character like this is going to be used against the Rankars and the Soul Reapers who can. To top everything off, her other 2 strong attacks have decent range, and she's got a Berserker at 50%, so it's not like her strong attacks aren't going to deal any damage. Now I was very excited for the 1000-year Blood War Pass banner to come out, and honestly it did not disappoint. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for some more top 10 lists.